work with, oh, look at that recording. Sustechs, who I work with, have been around since about 2006 in the renewable sector. They do all sorts of lovely work. I've taken on the role of the mechanical side of the business. So there's David Zarby, who owns the company. I'm the mechanical, technical, whatever my title is. And then there's another guy called Cliff who does the electrical side. Between us three, we understand how everything works and can manage everything. So our goal is obviously to try and partner up with businesses and work over a long period of time, reducing their carbon footprint a step at a day, rather than just go in with the big bucks hits. So is that gone to the next slide? There we go. So yeah, so I've covered some of that. 2006. This is the bit that's impressive. 4,500 successful installs, which is a net saving of 70 million trees a year. That's just this one company that trades out a pool. We've worked with some of the biggest companies. And yeah, so that sort of validates the business. This one I think is important to look at. The next slide. When you want to get involved with renewables, or you have that dream of having a green home, etc., there's some little tips here on how you should validate who you're dealing with. But fundamentally, loads of companies just start up. As soon as the government announces some sort of scheme, loads of call centres and marketing companies start up just generating leads. And then there was one in Dorset the other week, which is featured there. I think went under, it took £1.5 million worth of people's deposits for solar panels. It'd been around for about 2 or 3 years. And it'll start again, is the truth. So at Sustechs, we've got lots and lots of ways to save you money. I think we've got over 32 different products that can be brought into a home, into a business. But in truth, you need to start with monitoring. So it's very easy to say, I want solar panels because it will save me electricity. But if you don't understand how you're using your electricity, you might be able to save a load of money just by monitoring and putting a bit of automation in first before you spend out £5,000–6,000 on solar panels. So that's a little list of all the stuff we can do, and I'm not going to rattle through it, but that's our skill base. This slide's kind of important. It's basically the process of working with Sustechs. So we'd come in, do an assessment, set up the energy monitoring. If agreed, that would run for about 2 months. We would then come in and do another full survey, give you a list of things you can do. You can sign off at that point, and then we begin implementing it, and savings, and then there's obviously all the aftercare. So it's quite a simple process. But honestly, the trick is, do not go out there and just buy an air source heat pump, some solar panels and a battery, or an electric car charger, because that's what so-and-so's done, and they're down a pub and they're quite clever. Yeah, you've got to really understand what you're using. So it's an example. One of our latest customers, through the monitoring, they told us they didn't need it. They knew what they were doing. And then we agreed that we'd put it in free just on their mains incoming for their factory. And on Saturday and Sundays, when the factory's shut, they were burning 50 kilowatts of energy a day. So that's 30p a watt in it, or whatever it is, 30p a kilowatt, times that by 50, times that by 2. They were burning that a day, and the factory's shut. So they've signed up to our monitoring system, which is a pretty impressive bit of kit. There's a quick, he's very technical, the guy who owns the company. I've got to dumb this right now, but it's very nice stuff. It's very technical. That's the kind of reporting you can get. You can see your peaks and troughs of when you're using your electricity. Same as like you could do in your house. We could measure this down to your kettle or your fridge if you want. And then there's also bringing in the automation side of things, which is just simple controls you can do at home. You can change plug sockets now to smart things. There's all sorts you can do. that aren't expensive. This is where it gets exciting. So one of the products we do is free cooling. Now that sounds mad, doesn't it? Free cooling. So this is ideal for like server rooms or comms rooms or hot areas, but it basically needs to be a kind of sealed room. You just bring fresh air in from outside, turn it into a positive pressure room. Heat doesn't like positive pressure, it rises up to the top, and then you have a fan on the other side, sucks it out. How simple is that? So if you put air conditioning in your server room, you would spend about £8,000 on AC for a computer server room. This would be the same price. With the electricity it saves you from using, 8 months is the payback. So after 8 months, you've saved that much electricity, it's free. And the unit will probably run for 20 years because it's simple. Free heating, that's another good one. This is predominantly done through what they call heat recovery units, so recirculating the heat, swapping it in and out with the ventilation. That building there, believe it or not, is a grade 2, 3-story listed church that's converted into offices. And there's a 20 kilowatt air source heat pump in the loft, reusing all the heat from the staff as they wander around, recirculating it, cleaning the air, and pumping it throughout the business. So that's quite impressive. This is my favourite, and this is where I come in. Free electricity. How cool is that? So everyone says gas boilers are dead, but you can actually use a gas boiler to make electricity, making it more efficient. So there's a quick picture. So that's one that I'm qualified to install at the moment. That is about the size of an American fridge. So it is a lump of kit, but your hot water tank is in there and your boiler. So you haven't got to have the tank in the airing cupboard. There are smaller ones and different stuff, but that's, as white rectangular boxes go, that's quite pretty. And then what else do we do? There's a bit about the automation, changing the LED lighting in warehouses. This is the actual factory that we saved 50 kilowatts a weekend of energy. I'm just going to rattle through some of these because it's too long. That's an external version of that heat recovery system. So, sucking in the air from outside, from inside, putting it back in. There's another clever thing with this is that if you make the air pressure inside a building less than outside, the outside forms an envelope over the top of the building. You can imagine this. We've all seen that Simpsons one where they got the dome on them. Yeah. So when that does that, what that means is the cold air from outside or the warm air from outside is sealing it, and then whatever the temperature inside stays. So it's quite clever technology. And like I say, it's been around since 2006, Sustechs has. So there's a bit more exciting news about heat pumps, but being used properly. And of course, we do solar panels, which is more free electricity, free hot water. Free car charging can be done out of it. It's more than just plug-in solar panels. There's that factory again. I need to change that. Why have I done that? That's that. There's a nice one. So this house here is actually the owner of the company's house, and it's just down near Sandbanks. And it's called Moonraker. And it was actually built for the James Bond film Moonraker.
Right.
And then they never did it. So how's that for a waste? Not sustainable waste of money, but yeah, but it's a fantastic house. It's also Dorset's most environmentally friendly house through the retrofitting. So I don't know, even the paint on the roof is a special paint that reflects heat into the house to put warmth through. I think just painting his roof, I think he spent about £80,000 on paint just for the roof, which is fantastic. This is that nursing home we were on about, the church that we did. There's all my handiwork up there. Look at that lovely radiator. Hey, no one hangs a radiator like me. Probably loads of people do. And then that's just us, what we do. So I know it's a whistle top store, but I was kind of hoping if anyone's got any questions at the end, there would be time for that, because there's a lot to absorb.
Thanks, Mark. That was good. I think in 2030, all commercial property has to have an EPC